And we are told here, verse 19, Tamar put ashes on her head, rent her garment, divers colors that was on her, and laid her hand on her head and went on crying. You see, she's thrown out of the house, and she now is in sackcloth and ashes. And Absalom, her brother, said unto her, Hath Ammon thy brother been with thee? But hold now thy peace, my sister, he's thy brother. Regard not this thing. So Tamar remained desolate in her brother Absalom's house. But when King David heard of all these things, he was very wroth. Now he's angry, but David did nothing about it. David was like a great many other men in Scripture. He was an indulgent father who raised a bunch of bad kids. And that's happened again and again. You remember it started with old Eli, God's high priest, preacher's son. My, were they something. And then we came down to Samuel. And you'd think Samuel being raised in that atmosphere, he'd be a disciplinarian. He would have disciplined his sons. He didn't either. And his sons turned out the same way. They were dishonest. And then we come now to David. And you'd think David, by this time, he knew Samuel, knew Samuel's sons. You'd think that he'd say, I'm going to be a little more strict with my children. I'm going to raise them right. But he didn't. He was a very indulgent father. And we'll find out in another case that he was overindulgent. But here, he does nothing about it. He's angry about it. I think he lectured him, but there's no discipline at all. Now, again, I'm confident a great many of you people by now think I'm quite a square, because I have been saying some old-fashioned things recently. And maybe it's because I'm now a retired preacher, and I can say what I please, friend. That is, if I get by with it, I can say it. And I think that I have been noted in my entire ministry as one who from the pulpit told it like it was. I have no apology to make for my ministry. I have many things that have been wrong, and many things I've had to straighten out with the Lord. But you know, I always followed a policy on Sunday night of reporting to him about the week, about what I had preached. And I want to be very frank with you. I wish I could have preached better. I've always wanted to be a better preacher than I am. But the thing is, I never had to say to him, well, I pulled punches today. I didn't really come out and say it, Lord, because I feared somebody. Well, I can say it like it is. And so let me now say it like it is. The problem today in Christian homes is the lack of example and discipline on the part of parents. Now, my friend, if you're a Christian and you got a little boy in your home, don't spend your time lecturing him. You're not going to get anywhere. You better start doing something about it before you lose it. And you better start soon, because there'll come a day when he's going to walk out. May I say to you, David here was an indulgent father. And that's another strike against David, by the way. David's not presented as a perfect man by any means. And the problem with many of us who've been in Christian work is that we have probably neglected our families for the sake of the work, and we've excused it on the basis of doing Christian work. And I must confess that if I had one thing to go back to, I now have a little grandson, and I think he's the most wonderful little fellow in the world, and I thank the Lord for him and for his papa and his mama. I think they're wonderful, but I'm enjoying him more than I enjoyed my daughter when she was a little baby. And you know why? Because I was so busy then. Now I can get with that little fella and I can spend some time with him. And I wish I'd spent more time with her when she was coming along. May I say to you, that's the thing that many Christians need to recognize today. And don't get the impression that you're raising a little angel. A great many parents treat their child as if it's a sort of a cross between an orchid and a piece of Dresden china. And if you apply the Board of Education to the seat of knowledge, that you're going to break him up, that he'll come apart some way. May I say to you, Proverbs says if you beat him, you won't kill him. And that's a very good idea to understand. You'll never kill him. This is a tremendous thing I think we're being given here about this. And David did nothing. So